I'm Roger Norris, and I'm a very good friend of Liam's, and I was with him the day that he passed away. He was in good spirits. He was like talking to 10 or 15 Americans that were here for a wedding. So he was talking to them, and he was joking around.
One of our wedding guests did have a meaningful conversation with him. He told her that the reason he was so up was because he was in a boy band. And just saying these things that it didn't really make sense or fit the context of the conversation.
I left like at 4:05 or so, and he was in good spirits. He was perfectly balanced, like talking to everybody, having fun, laughing. So nothing out of the ordinary. And that's when I said, okay, bye.
So you left him about
An hour before he fell off that balcony.
and you say he seemed fine.
Yeah. Well, he seemed playful and happy.
Well, that's Roger Norris's account, but it's wildly different from what others say they observed.
Our guest witnessed Liam laying on the sofa in the lobby. This is probably right around 4:30 p.m. Wasn't necessarily coherent. He definitely looked like he was under the influences, according to our guest. Apparently something came in on his computer, and they describe it as something, and Liam just kind of flipped. He went from laying down pretty sedentary to just stood up really agitated, and that's the point where he slammed his laptop on the ground and said something along the lines of this.
Roger Norris says, despite accusations of abandonment by authorities, he was a dutiful friend the day Liam died.
I went to the hotel 3 times to check on him. During that morning, he seemed tipsy, but nothing out of the ordinary.
But prosecutors say Roger had a duty to stick around whether Liam wanted it or not, which is why they want him prosecuted for abandonment.
Eventually, he got to the point where he either tripped or he passed out and ended up falling over one of the end tables in the lobby. And this is when he started twitching on the ground. From what I could see, it looked like he was going in and out of consciousness, not very lucid at all. At this point, the hotel staff had rushed over to him. It looked like he was overdosing on something. We did see the group of people around Liam getting him into the elevator. And this all happened about 10 minutes before he ultimately fell.
We have dug deep. We have some terrible news.
Liam Payne's death shocked the world.
This was a normal day in Liam's life.
It was anything but a normal day.
Fox Monday, TMZ investigates.
Prosecutors say Liam went out looking for drugs.
It looked like he was overdosing on something.
It's a tantamount to a kidnapping of sorts.
With exclusive interviews with the accused and hear directly from eyewitnesses.
We saw Liam fall.
TMZ investigates Liam Payne, Who's to Blame? Monday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Liam Payne. There have been 3 arrests now in his death. First of all, the authorities have now said his death was not a suicide, that he fell from that 3rd floor balcony under the influence of drugs. And now the issue is, where did these drugs come from? There were search warrants earlier this week. Now, 3 people have been arrested. A friend of his, a drug dealer, and somebody who works in the hotel. Now, the drug dealer is obvious. The friend sounds like a go-between. The interesting thing, I think, is the person who works in the hotel. If you saw the remnants of what Liam left behind in the room, there is a Dove box in the upper right of the screen. According to authorities, that Dove box contained cocaine and other drugs that were secreted in that box, and that a hotel employee delivered it to the door where Liam Payne was staying.
Well, these 3 people have actually been charged now.
They have been charged. You get the drug dealer for sure.
Yes.
And the friend, if he's the go-between, I guess that's part and parcel. The hotel employee is interesting. Not because what he did was right, but when you think about it, if you have like a major celebrity saying to some guy who works in a hotel, bring this box up, and we don't know, maybe there's something more than that.
Do we even know that he knew what was in the box?
It sounds like they're saying he did,
Okay.
because if he didn't, there's no way they would charge him.
It's really interesting to see how these middlemen get treated, right? They're sometimes charged and they're sometimes not. It could very well be, there's a reason this, I believe, is a housekeeper, the person in the hotel employee, got involved in this. It could be that this is what this person does with regularity. I mean, we're reading tea leaves here.
That's
but
true. That's true.
It doesn't mean that it was a one-off. It could be that this is part of the structure that this group operates in.
There are some people who have been saying, we get the drug dealer part, we even get the go-between part, but it's like if somebody works in the hotel and a big celebrity says, do this, and again, you're right, maybe this person was doing it with lots of people and it was the go-to person, but if not, if it's just the one person, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting.
It is. But do we know what the exact charges are yet for all 3?
They're going to be charged with...
Like, are they all going to be charged the same?
Well, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting question.
Liam's friend was charged with abandonment of a person before death, it appears, and then the third suspect, I guess, is if we're numbering them, is the actual supplier. So these are going to be charges that are obviously specific to Argentina, but they're all part of some sort of conspiracy to deliver drugs to somebody who died.
It's interesting, Jason, that if the person who abandoned him was not a go-between, but somebody who saw him in a certain state and didn't do anything, that's a kind of a unique kind of crime.
It is, because how do you prove that?
We get into these Good Samaritan laws, right? At what point do you have an obligation to assist somebody in need? And in this country, at least, and Argentina is going to be very different, but in this country, if you are in some way responsible for their caregiving or got them into the state that eventually caused their death, you have that responsibility. But if not, you don't.
Hi, I'm Bree from New Jersey. And honestly, I was kind of shocked about them saying that it was suicide in the first place because it just didn't seem that way. So it's interesting to see that now they're saying that there's 3 people being charged for it. It is kind of sad that the hotel clerk might have possibly kind of just got pulled into this, because anybody could have been that person. Because if I saw a celebrity come in, I probably would do exactly what they told me to do as well. So that's kind of unfortunate and sad.
That's definitely going to be the defense in this case, so we will see.